The salvage crew found Marcus Chen drifting in the debris field of what had once been the mining station Kepler-7. His emergency pod's life support was failing, oxygen reserves at critical levels, but when the Veltar rescue ship hauled him aboard, they discovered something that defied all logic. Cradled against the human's chest, wrapped in his torn jacket, was a Draconis hatchling. Captain Velkos stared at the impossible sight, his 4 eyes blinking in sequence. The hatchling, no bigger than a human infant, slept peacefully against Chen's body, its iridescent scales rising and falling with each breath. The human remained unconscious, his arms instinctively protective around the creature that should have killed him the moment it emerged from its egg. "Impossible," whispered Dr. Thes, the ship's xenobiologist. "Draconis young are born with active venom glands. Their bite can drop a Veltar warrior in seconds." But there it was, a baby dragon curled trustingly against humanity's most unlikely protector. The story emerged in fragments as Chen recovered in the medical bay. The mining station had discovered something in the asteroid's core. Not ore, but an ancient Draconis nesting chamber, perfectly preserved in the rock for millennia. The miners, in their ignorance, had cracked it open. The eggs started hatching, Chen explained, his voice hoarse. The adults came first, territorial, aggressive, protecting their young. The station didn't stand a chance. The Veltar crew exchanged glances. Draconis were apex predators, their adult forms capable of tearing through starship hulls with their claws. A nest of them awakening would indeed spell doom for any nearby settlement. "I was in maintenance shaft C7 when the main attack hit," Chen continued, absently stroking the hatchling's head as it dozed. "Found this little one separated from the others, crying. Couldn't just leave it." Velkos felt his throat sacs contract with anxiety. Humans were known throughout the galaxy for their unpredictable nature, their tendency toward violence when threatened. But this was something else entirely. This was the species that had somehow befriended a creature that evolution had designed as the perfect killer. The hatchling stirred, opening eyes like molten gold. It looked up at Chen and made a soft chirping sound. Chen smiled and offered it a piece of synthetic protein from his meal tray. The creature accepted it with surprising gentleness, careful not to let its needle-sharp teeth catch flesh. "We named him Pip," Chen said. "Short for Pipsqueak. I know, not very original, but he seemed to like it." 3 days later, they reached Veltar Space Station Harmony Point. Word had already spread about the human and his impossible companion. Representatives from a dozen species had gathered, scientists and military officials alike, all wanting to understand how this bond was possible. Commander Zephyr of the Galactic Defense Force arrived with a full escort. The insectoid warrior's mandibles clicked nervously as he observed Chen teaching Pip to fetch a small ball in the station's recreation area. "The Draconis Collective has issued demands," Zephyr announced. "They want the hatchling returned immediately." Chen's expression hardened. "And if I refuse? Then we have an interstellar incident on our hands." The Draconis have already mobilized 3 war fleets. The station's main assembly hall filled with representatives from across known space. Chen stood at the center, Pip perched on his shoulder like an impossibly dangerous pet. The hatchling's scales had begun to show adult coloration, deep crimson with threads of gold. The Draconis delegation arrived in force. Elder scales like starlight, ancient beyond measure, towered over the assembly. Her voice carried the weight of millennia when she spoke. "Return what is ours, human. The young one belongs with its people." Chen stepped forward, showing no fear despite facing a creature that could incinerate him with a breath. "Belongs? Pip chooses where he belongs. A hatchling cannot choose. It follows instinct." "Then watch." Chen set Pip down on the floor and stepped back 20 paces. The hatchling looked between the human and the imposing figure of the elder, confusion evident in its golden eyes. The elder extended one massive claw. "Come, young one. Come to your true kind." Pip took a tentative step toward her, then stopped. He looked back at Chen, who knelt down and opened his arms. "Your choice, buddy," Chen said softly. "I won't force you to stay." For a moment that stretched like eternity, the hatchling stood frozen between 2 worlds. Then with a joyful chirp, he scampered back to Chen and leaped into his arms. The elder's eyes blazed with something between rage and incomprehension. "Impossible. The bonding instinct only occurs between parents and offspring." Dr. Theiss stepped forward, datapad in hand. "Actually, our scans show something remarkable. The human's biosignature has changed. His pheromone production, his electromagnetic field. They're mimicking Draconis parental markers. Humans adapt, Chen said simply, nuzzling Pip's snout. It's what we do. The elder stared at them for a long moment. When she spoke again, her voice carried a note of wonder. In 10,000 years of Draconis history, no other species has ever achieved cross-species adoption with our kind. First time for everything, Chen replied. The political ramifications rippled across the galaxy within hours. If humans could bond with Draconis, the most territorial and aggressive species known, what did that mean for galactic power structures? What other impossible alliances might they forge? As Chen and Pip departed Harmony Point aboard a human transport, Elder Scales like Starlight sent a message to the Draconis High Council that would reshape interstellar relations forever. The humans are not what we believe them to be. They do not conquer through strength alone, but through something far more dangerous, the ability to make family from enemies. We must reconsider our position in this galaxy. In his cabin, Chen watched Pip practice his first attempts at flight, the young dragon's wings barely able to support his growing mass. Soon, Pip would be large enough to ride, intelligent enough to hold conversations, powerful enough to level city blocks, and he would do it all while remembering the warmth of human arms that had held him when he was small and afraid. The galaxy was about to learn that humanity's greatest weapon wasn't their technology or their stubbornness. It was their infinite capacity to love the unloved, to adopt the abandoned, and to turn natural enemies into chosen family. As Pip finally managed to hover for a full 3 seconds before tumbling onto the soft bedding, Chen smiled and made a note in his journal. Day 12 with Pip. Flying lessons going well. Tomorrow we start working on please and thank you. The stars watched and trembled.